Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for finding me on YouTube. Today, I am going to be making the tiniest ever terrariums. I've done terrariums before, but what makes these extra special, other than being teeny tiny and miniature, I'm going to be planting moss in these terrariums. I got really interested in moss. Obviously, when I'm out hiking, I see moss and I think it's pretty, but I've never really thought of it as a plant. Then I learned about foraging for moss because obviously where I live in Canada, there's moss everywhere. And there is ways to forage for that, bring it in, clean it properly, and then use it in a terrarium without ever buying any moss and without bringing moss in from across the world. I just have learned so much about moss is the point. And so today I'm going to be working with moss, and I'm actually going to be working with moss that I foraged for in my yard. During my deep dive into moss, I did make a little terrarium about this size with moss just to sort of see, like, how does it grow? How does it work? I had it for about a week or two, and then mold started to appear, and I did, look into how to treat the mold, but I just scrapped it. It was an experiment, and that's okay. I learned a lot from just making that little one. Since then, I have really looked into how to avoid mold. And then also I'm starting with these teeny tiny ones because if it gets moldy, I'll just take everything out and start again. So I'm gonna show you all the materials I'm gonna be using. Why not just do a little tiny one? So if you're interested, let's do this. All right, now that I've got you zoomed in really close, I'm just gonna show you all of my materials before I get started building. So obviously these are the tiny vessels I'm gonna be using for my terrariums. I bought 8 of these. I'm gonna just be making 3 terrariums today to see how it goes. Next I have my potting soil. I'm gonna be using a little tiny bit of that. I have activated charcoal. This is the powdered charcoal. This is what I have on hand because I used to make soap and things like that, and I use charcoal in that sometimes. So this is what I had, is the powdered charcoal, but I would recommend sort of a coarser grind if you're gonna go buy it. Definitely don't get this finely powdered, but this works too. And I mix this in with my potting soil usually, but in terrariums it is especially useful. Well, apparently it's especially useful. It's apparently a little bit controversial, but that's what I have. This is very fine gravel. And I had this on, I don't even know why I had this, but this is available at craft supply stores as well. Or of course you could just get it from your driveway, depending on what your living situation is. These are, oh, can I see them? These are tiny little pebbles that I just found on the road that I'm gonna be using as sort of rocks in the terrarium. Next up is the moss, and I'm going to be showing you how I harvested this. I don't know what kind of moss it is. I am not a moss expert just yet. Obviously, I didn't need a lot, but if you were making a bigger terrarium, you would obviously harvest a lot more than I did. Welcome to my backyard. My dogs are gonna help me harvest some moss. So there's a little patch here, and it's just waking up from the winter, but it's definitely looking pretty good. And I'm just gonna take that much. I don't need a lot. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick out all these extra little chunks of things that aren't moss, and I'm gonna soak it. So I've been soaking the moss for about an hour. I did change the water once, and I'm gonna obviously change the water again. Soaking it just helps a lot of the plant material that isn't moss to come out of the moss, also gets rid of any little critters, and it's rehydrating the moss because this moss is pretty dry. But if you squeeze it, you can see there's some really cute moss pieces in there. Because the terrariums I'm making are so teeny tiny, I'm gonna need such a tiny amount of this, so I'm not too worried about getting this absolutely pristine because I'm just gonna pick out the little pieces that I want. But I'm gonna change the water, obviously, and I'm gonna do that a couple more times, and hopefully we'll get some pretty nice moss out of this. All right, so now it's looking a lot better. I'm just gonna pick out the little pieces that I'm actually going to be using and transfer them into this jar. And here are the plants that I'm going to be planting in the terrarium. In addition to the moss, I have Peperomia prostrata, or string of turtles, and Peperomia verticulata or verticillata, or Peperomia red log. These are just cuttings from plants that I was already growing, and I have grown both of these in terrariums in the past and they grow really well. So I'm gonna try those out. I also just like that they have really miniature leaves, which obviously for the tiny terrariums, that will be really adorable. These are just some like sticks that I thought might look cute. I have this little piece of wood and and this, I don't know if I'm gonna incorporate it or not. This was an earring that broke, the backing broke off of it. It's like a resin flower earring. And I just thought it might look cute. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna use that. And then for tools, I've got tweezers, toothpicks, which maybe I'll need, I'm not sure, a little spoon, and a funnel, which is very tiny. And I didn't have a funnel this tiny, so I just made this out of paper. That's all I'm using today. So I'm gonna be working on a piece of white paper just so that it's easier for you to see, probably easier for me to see as well. All right, I think I'm all set up. I'm going to be doing the bottom layers all at once, just because that'll be easier. So the layer I'm going to put in first is the gravel. That's going to create what's called a false bottom. And that just means there'll be a little bit of drainage, not a ton, obviously, so that no water accumulates on the plants. And so, oh my goodness, this is so tiny. And I think that's good. And this gravel came this color, but I'm sure you could get different. Oh, whoa, oh my goodness. 1 second, let me clean that up. I'm back. There was, I think some of the gravel got stuck in the funnel and then was coming out, and I did not know it was coming out. All right, so far so good, people. So cute. Okay, so that's for the drainage. I'm gonna add a very, very light layer of this activated charcoal. And like I said, activated charcoal is kind of a controversial item. Some people say it really does help keep terrariums fresh. Other people say it really doesn't do anything. But I have it on hand anyway, and I have used it in the other terrariums I've built, so I'm just gonna go with it. And this powdery one is so messy. It is like working with, I don't know, ink, charcoal. It's really messy. That's why I think if you could get a coarser grind, that would be preferable. But again, this is what I have. Oh, I think my little funnel is getting clogged. Good thing I have this toothpick. Go. I do enjoy miniature things. I used to be really into making tiny little things out of clay, like little animals, little desserts. It was really fun. And then I don't know, I just stopped, but this excites me. Okay. So just spread that out. Okay, we're looking good. Now the potting soil, the potting soil I feel like is a little bit too chunky for this project. And I only just need a little tiny bit because the moss will grow on the gravel. The moss can grow on anything. This is more for the little tiny peperomias that I'm gonna be adding. They just need a little bit of soil to keep them going. That's why I'm adding it. If you're just doing a terrarium with just moss, my understanding is you don't even need potting soil, and potting soil, of course, can increase the risk of mold and things like that. But because this is an experiment, I'm adding it. And I'm not using the funnel because I'm just adding the tiniest little chunk of it. There we go. All right. Okay, that was a little bit stressful. I wonder if I should add a little bit more gravel just to make it look pretty. I'm gonna add a little bit more gravel. I highly recommend the paper funnel. I'm sure you can get a tiny funnel, but what else would you need a tiny funnel for? All right, I'm liking how they're looking so far. I'm now just gonna work on one at a time now that the soil is in there, and this is where the tweezers are gonna come in handy. So these are fairly long strands of moss. And again, in my deep dive about moss don't really have a true root or true branches. So basically wherever you put it down, it should just be happy. But I'm wondering if I should even make these tinier, like these pieces. I do have tinier pieces. Maybe I'll just start working with the tiny pieces. Oh no. I'm gonna put my stick in. Should I put the stick in first? Also, these sticks are way too big. I think I'll put the moss in first. No, I will put a rock in first. So put that in. Maybe I'll add 2 rocks. It'd be really sad if this just dumped all over. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start adding the moss now. Yeah, these pieces of moss I thought were so tiny, but they're actually, I'm gonna cut them into smaller pieces because they're actually pretty big compared to this bottle. And as I said, I don't know what kind of moss this is. I did learn that there's all kinds of different moss. There's like thousands of types of moss. But I do like the structure of this one. Like it almost looks like a little tree, which is exciting. My goodness. This looks so cute. I hope that everything is in focus. Look how cute this looks. Okay. I'm gonna add, for this one, I think I'm gonna add one of the string of turtles. Wow, this like, yeah, it's gonna be a tree of turtles. And then should I add a little piece of wood? I feel like this one has enough going on already. I feel like that one doesn't really need a tree or anything. I think it's good. All right, so put the cork on. That one's all done. Okay. Okay, number 2. First off, I'm gonna add the rocks. I really like how these tiny rocks look. They worked out really well. Okay, this one I do want to add this piece of wood. I feel like that will look really cool. I don't know if I should put it in first. I'm gonna put in a little bit of moss. I really want to use this little piece of wood somehow. I think that would look really cute. I don't know if I should add it in first. I think I'll add some moss first. That would be really cool if the moss started growing on that piece of wood. Apparently you can get really long skinny tweezers if you're gonna be using, you know, a more tall skinny container. This one I could almost use my fingers, although it would be harder to place things as exactly as I am, but these tweezers work just fine. These are just regular tweezers that I cleaned and will clean after. Okay, and I think that's probably good. I'm gonna put this piece of wood in kind of behind that moss. It's actually almost too big, which is weird. When I was collecting these materials, I really thought that they were all so tiny. They're not. This one is too big. I don't think I'll be able to close it. Nope. Okay, well then I will use, it's too bad. I really liked this little piece of wood. That's okay. I will use one of these little sticks that I have, which again is way too big, but I can snap this, no problem. Okay, put it this way so it looks like it's a little tree. Oh my goodness, that looks so cute. Okay. I think it needs one more piece of moss, and then I'll plant in that peperomia red, whatever it's called, red log, peperomia red log. This piece of peperomia is the tiniest plant in the world, which makes it perfect for this tiny terrarium. Okay, where are you gonna go? There's a little spot. Oh my goodness, can I get it there? Yes. Success. Oh shoot. That's okay. Nothing bad happened. Okay. All right. This is so cute. Success. Okay, putting the lid on. And I will show you guys this. Oh, peperomia kind of turned around when I dropped it. 1 second. Let me fix that. There. I want it to face out, of course. I don't know. I almost think this one needs a bit more moss or something. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more moss. Why not? There, that looks better. Sorry, I'm totally doing this off camera, some of it, but it's because I'm getting really into it. Now the peperomia will grow faster than the moss and probably will need to be trimmed at some point, but I am not gonna worry about that right now. It's obviously gonna root first, and it's such a tiny piece that that probably won't be for a long time. That I'll have to adjust it. Oh my goodness, so cute. All right, put the lid on. So there is terrarium number 2. Oh, sorry for the glare. It's really hard to get in there. There, it's so cute. Terrarium number 2. This is taking less time than I thought, but is more relaxing than I thought, if that makes sense. Okay, I have 3 tiny rocks left, so they're all going in. And should I add branch to this one? I feel like almost the branch is not, you can't really see it in that other one, so I'm just gonna leave it out. Okay. I'm gonna have way more moss than I even need, and I thought I harvested such a little amount. But I underestimated how tiny this was. This moss is wet, so I'm not gonna water these terrariums today. And by water, I mean like add a drop of water. I'm not gonna water them today. I'm gonna just let them sort of sit, let the soil absorb the moisture from the moss, and then if needed, I will water, but I don't even think they'll need it. And peperomia, you know, you don't wanna overwater that, and it'll be rooting anyway, so I think probably these won't need water for a long, long time because they should be sealed. I don't know about these corks, how, you know, airtight they are. How much can I expect from this tiny, tiny vessel? But we'll find out. And it's not a big deal if I have to water every couple months, obviously. And like I said, I got 8 of these vessels, so I'm probably gonna start giving these away as gifts to whoever wants a tiny, tiny terrarium. Okay, now onto these guys. Oh, there's no space for them. Okay, I just split that in 2 little plants, and they are gonna go on this side. Oh my goodness, so cute. All right, I'm gonna find a place to show these off better. I don't feel like they're showing up very well on camera because they're actually super adorable, but you can't quite see it. So, one sec. Okay, this is easier to see. So here's the first one. Those little turtles look so cute in there. And obviously as the terrarium grows, it will sort of fit the container a little bit better, but so far I really like how they turned out. Here's the second one. You can see that peperomia red log in there. And I actually totally forgot to add that little earring that I thought I might add. I can add that to a future one though. And the third one, I think this one's my favorite. There's a lot of turtles in there. And I really like the rocks too. I definitely recommend adding some rocks. Just add some interest to the landscape. So I'm gonna leave you guys here. I hope you enjoyed watching me build these teeny tiny terrariums. I would love to know if you build one of these or if you've ever built one before, if you have any tips, or if there's anything I could add to these. I'm definitely gonna be making more because like I said, I have more vessels. So I'm totally open to ideas, or if you just think this is a very ridiculous craft, you can let me know that too. I hope you all have a very, very wonderful day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!